Alright, Dreamworks 3, baby. We got another notch in the belt, and this notch is The Road to El Dorado, which is movie number 3 out of, 40-something? I think it was 42 was the number when we calculated it. Don't exactly remember. But Clay and I watched it last night. This... Sorry, I don't know if you heard that. There's the loud horn, like car horn going off. I don't know what happened. Anyways, so the movie, this is not my first time watching it. I've seen it several times before. I watched it as a kid. The VHS I have somewhere, I remember getting it as a Christmas present one year. It is not a movie like Toy Story or Shrek, where I could quote it in my sleep. But there are a lot of quotes I remember from the movie. Tushabalaba, tushabalaba. Well, it's not a pry bar. And a lot, I can't do the whole loaded dice scene, but I could do a lot of it. I think my two favorite lines from that scene are, "Let your sword do the talking, I will. It will be loquacious to a fault." I love that. That line makes me laugh every time. "You fight like my sister. I fought your sister." It's a compliment. Like, great shit. I love it. To me, the movie is at its best when it's just Miguel and Tulio interacting off each other and being just insane. I love when they're first brought to the city. And they're like, "Well, who are you?" "Miguel and Tulio." Miguel hops off the horse, his foot's still stuck in the reins, but he's trying to still look impressive. And they call us Miguel and Tulio. I giggle every time. I think it's just funny. It's an adventure movie. It is a popcorn movie. There's not a lot here that I'm like, this is really deep. Like looking at The Prince of Egypt. It is a tragedy about how these two brothers who absolutely loved each other, were best friends, are now at odds, and there is no real means of reconciliation. And showing how far Ramses is willing to go to not be the weak link. You have Ants, which is definitely, it feels like was something created purely out of spite, but I kind of respect it for that. Like, you feel the Dreamworks DNA, like you feel the Shrek DNA in something like Ants. And while I by no means think it's this phenomenal movie, I also would not say it's a failed experiment. I think for what they were trying to do, they pulled it off pretty well. And again, there were some moments, the moment that really sticks out to me the most, aside from, damn good, like I said in the Ants video, I've remembered that for 20 fucking years, is when, I don't even remember, what's his name, Z? Woody Allen. When Woody Allen comes back from the war, and he's being paraded around as a war hero, to make the masses feel a little better, to have something to kind of root for, well, there's also no intention of helping him out. Like, I feel like there's a lot of interesting commentary in Ants that I kind of got into. El Dorado doesn't really have that. At least nothing I really got out of it. It's just, here is a fun movie, as I have heard it described, here is a movie about the bard and the rogue going off on an adventure together where they roll nothing but 1s and 20s. And that's a pretty apt description of the movie. It's just a lot of fun. It is a hand-drawn movie. There's some CG, but I don't think it looks bad by any means. I think it's a good-looking movie. Not the best they've ever seen. I think The Prince of Egypt looks better. It still looks good. I think the soundtrack is good. I love me some Elton John. Is it the best soundtrack Elton John has done for an animated film? No. That's a very specific category, but I wouldn't say so, but I still like the soundtrack. Fuck, I used to have the soundtrack. I don't know where it is, but I have it somewhere. I've listened to all these songs several times. I like them. This is a movie that I like a lot. I don't know if I would quite say, having rewatched it and recently evaluated it, I don't know if it's a movie I'd say I love. But I like it a lot. It's not a guilty pleasure kind of thing, but it's yeah, this is a movie that gives me a really good time every time I watch it. Is it this profound work of fiction? No. But it's not trying to be, and it doesn't have to be. I had fun. And that's really all that matters. So if I were to give something like that a rating, on a letter grade, like I said, Prince of Egypt, to me, that's an S tier movie. What did I say for Ants? I think I said it's like a B minus. Like I said, I think I get more out of Ants, but I enjoy this movie more. So I would say, to me, El Dorado is like an A minus kind of movie. I think that's fair. It gave me what I wanted. I think it did what it was trying to do. I feel like some of the music maybe could have been I don't think the music is bad by any means. I think maybe it's just like the way some of it is edited. Because if you hear the songs in the movie and then in the soundtrack, sometimes they sound really different. For example, "It's Tough to Be a God," which I love it. The soundtrack is very different. Like, some of the lyrics are different. It's not the Miguel and Tulio version, which I don't remember the voice actors. It's like Kenneth Branagh, and I don't remember who voices Tulio. They both do a great job, by the way. The voice actor in this movie is fantastic. But it's Elton John and Randy Newman doing a duet in the OST, which is really interesting. And yeah, sometimes the lyrics are really different. For example, there's a line in the movie where I think Tulio's line is like, "Who am I should bridle if I'm forced to be an idol? If they say if they say that I'm a god, that's what I am." Where the OST lyric is, "Any normal man would bridle if he's forced to be an idol, and a normal man's exactly what I am." So, the exact opposite connotation. You're like, that's weird. Okay. And like the opening song, I really like it. All 40 seconds that it's in the movie. And like the animation style there like looks really cool. And then there's a full like 4-minute version on the OST. Like, why didn't we use more of it? I don't know. Why'd you have Elton John compose kind of a banger opening song and barely use it? Look at, I don't know if he actually composed Circle of Life, but look at Lion King. They used that entire song and it fucking slaps. Anyways, really like the movie. It's not, in my opinion, it's not amazing, but it's still a lot of fun, and I'm always happy to watch it. Glad I got to rewatch it. Next is Chicken Run, which is a movie I have not seen in a really long time. I think I've only seen it once, maybe twice. I remember liking it a lot, so I'm expecting to go in, have a good time. I know I recently watched a video about like the opening scene of Chicken Run. I think it's the opening scene, with how it's kind of implied that one of the hens committed suicide. Which, like, I certainly don't remember that, but having rewatched the scene, I was like, oh okay, it's very, very subtle, but I see it. This might be a really interesting movie to watch, but looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. See you then.